seen Daryl in a while. He's doing good.
Busy.
Yeah.
Good.
Now that he's one of the big boss men, he's always busy.
I'm gonna have to show me Nemo.
But
You
good.
get a spot down below.
Answer your question.
Good.
I did.
Your husband good?
I took a chance.
Let's get there.
Better?
Well, I parked down a cop.
He's on the list so for a train.
There was an SUV next to me. So.
Going through all that process.
No, that's fine, right into Texas, right? F-1, yeah, F-150 is considered compact.
It's a short day.
Did you go upstairs?
Still haven't got the code to work, the scanner.
Yeah, I was about to do it, and then I thought, I didn't have the code, and the last time it didn't work. Did you just press the speaker and they let you in?
After some interesting conversation, go.
Was he here all day?
Does it matter?
How you doing?
Good morning. All right. Here's lunch. Here's my.
Oh, thank you.
And Christmas.
From Walmart. No, like, oh, those are cute. I'll wear
I was
those.
gonna guess like she heard because that's where I see them.
All right, Ford, I have it as new. Do you guys want to get started, or you want to give Brett another minute? We're not sure if he's coming. Yeah, okay, all right, great. Okay, all right, meeting has officially been called to order. First item on the agenda, public comments. Welcome, Angela. Is there anything
Hi.
you'd like to address with the board today?
Yes. This was intended to be read at the October meeting, but because of parking concerns that were not communicated to attendees, I walked in late and the board did not see fit to let me speak at the end of the meeting. So this is
Hey, how's it going?
just for relevance from then. Apologies for missing the 2 meetings prior to October. I was traveling and then I was sick. If we can't have the option to participate in a live stream meeting, as many other public entities of various sizes already do, having these meetings at least video recorded for constituents to review at their convenience would go a long way to improving transparency as well as community. Many residents have complained about receiving their bills late and thus being charged a late fee. Infomark is blaming the Postal Service, but as a small business owner, I can tell you that we should all know the delays of our Postal Service and adjust our processes accordingly. And I do believe this was addressed at the last meeting, and that there was a procedural issue within the company that had to be addressed, and they did address it. So I'll skip the rest of that. Our neighbor's current only recourse is to contact Infomark, which begs the question of why we trust an entity to self-report to the board that controls their contract. The board currently relies on the operator to let them know when said provider is not performing at the top tier of their game. We are expected to trust that they will reliably and accurately report when they receive calls concerning not receiving a bill on time, water quality, etc. Is there an audit process to ensure the operator is accurately reporting? Do they provide call logs or transcripts? What is the business incentive to accurately communicate when things are not going well? Not a single board member or surrogate recommended the affected neighbors contact Infomark. I'm curious how board members can claim ignorance of topics related to Med 345 that are discussed on social media, while at the same time have screenshots sent to them about my comments in the same forum and read them into the record during official meetings. Maybe that same energy could be used to advocate for our community instead of trying to find gotchas for a squeaky wheel who's absolutely not going anywhere. A short list of recent issues that are discussed on social media: months-long ongoing leak in the cul-de-sac of Whisper Pass, a bunch of small leaks throughout the neighborhood, my first sidewalk on Crescent Green. These and other issues are discussed on social media because neighbors don't necessarily know or have the time to research how to contact the board, a board which is comprised of ostensibly elected officials and who should act like it and make yourselves available to your constituents. The website still does not list an email address. Again, this was as of October. It may have been updated since then. As noted above, letters take time and phone calls do not have a way to verify receipt. Good community building constituent outreach includes meeting people where they are. Your members are in the Facebook group and you refuse to even acknowledge that discussions about the quality of our water service are taking place there, despite actively campaigning there and having surrogates keep track of squeaky wheels. Official minutes indicate that the lawyer advised the board to exercise caution on social media, which any reasonable person would understand is not a mandate to avoid it whole cloth. To reiterate from July, not one board member has ever communicated in the very active Facebook group that serves the district, even just to direct neighbors to the website, or how to sign up for text alerts, or assure us they are in communication with the operator. You are elected to represent all of us, but you do not communicate with all of us. The elected officials are uncomfortable communicating without the blessing of the lawyer is extremely unsettling. Our arsenic levels are still too high. I am still concerned that we are drilling a new well because the current one is at the end of its life. We all agree we don't know how much usable life is left in it. And yet in April of this year, the engineer stated that when West Park converts and we aren't able to use their water, that hopefully the second water well will be the second source required to be a public water supply. A second source that we don't know when will stop working seems a bit dicey to me. Planning for conversion to chloramines did not begin until this summer, despite my pointing out over a year ago that the only emergency water supply that can support the entire district is converting to surface water in 2025. I mentioned in the meeting this past July that I was under the impression the district was not exploring chloramines as a cost aversion, and the board informed me it was actually a technical concern. If concerning to me, the technical concern was not initiated by folks who are involved in the water industry on a daily basis, but by a regular member of the public who travels 36 miles round trip without pay, endures dismissive attitudes and eye rolling from the members of the board simply to advocate for better communication, transparency, and cleaner water for the entire community, as often as she is physically able. I'd also like to formally request a copy of social media memorandum in the May Exhibit J. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Angela. We can send you a copy of this social media memorandum.
Great, thank you.
All right, move on to agenda item 2, which is a review and approve the minutes of the November 18th board meeting. Those were sent out last week with the agenda. We did not get any questions or comments prior to today's meeting, but board, if y'all have any, please let us know. If none, just need a motion to approve as written. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 3, bookkeeper's report.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Yvette is in another meeting since everything's getting pushed for Christmas week, so I am covering for her today. It's good to see all of y'all again. If you flip past the cover page, first page there is your spotlight for the month, just showing your cost of water and wastewater per 10,000 gallons over the last 5 years. If you'll flip to page 3, the monthly financial summary for your general operating fund, y'all have 8.1 million in there and a reserve of 36.4 months. Page 4, your cash flow report for your operating checking account. The checks above the line there are holding checks from last month. Checks 11852 through 11870 for approval today. Page 5, the cash flow report for your operator account. We just had some accounts receivable that came in, transfer out to your checking, and some bank service charges and return checks. Pages 6 through 9, the actual versus budget comparison for the month of October and through your fiscal year for your operating account. 10 and 11 is your balance sheet showing your current assets and liabilities. 12 is your monthly financial summary for your sewer treatment plant. You have $143,000 in that account. Page 13, the cash flow report for your sewer treatment plant checking account. You have checks 3275 through 3283 for approval today. 14 and 15 is the actual versus budget comparison for the month of October and through your fiscal year for your sewer treatment plant. We have billed out for all expenses incurred in there. 16 is your monthly financial summary for your joint water plant. You have $272,000 in that account. 17 is the cash flow report for your joint water. Checks 5285 through 5294 for approval today. 18 and 19 is actual versus budget comparison for your joint water plant for the month of October and through your fiscal year. We have billed out for all expenses incurred in there as well. 20 is your investment profile, just showing the different average interest rates out in the market right now. You will notice if you looked at last month's page, this one is slightly lower. They're continuing to decrease as expected. And if you look at 21, you'll see that you do have a CD for renewal on 12/13, which was already passed, but this report was already ran. So we renewed that. Should be another year, so it'll mature on 12/13/2025. 22 and 23 is your cash flow forecast, just showing y'all's budgeted reserves at 34 months. Y'all are tracking pretty close to that right now. Page 24, your sales tax revenue history. You did receive a payment for August for $11,176. 25 through 29 is your quarterly investment report, showing the interest, service charges, withdrawals, deposits, and pledged securities over the last quarter. And the last page is your proposed budget for y'all's viewing today. We would send out the email to the consultants this morning, so y'all will have a one for approval at the next meeting, and we'll expect their comments. I think we've requested to get those back by the 30th. So that is all I have for y'all, unless you have any questions for me.
Questions or comments for Kayla on the bookkeeper's report or the quarterly investment inventory report. As you guys know, take a look at the proposed budget for your fiscal year ending January 31 of 2025 prior to next month's meeting, where we will adopt those. As Kayla said, the email went out to the consultants this morning, so all of your consultants will look at it, provide their comments prior to next month's meeting, so it should be in a position for adoption next month. If y'all have any questions, reach out to me or Yaneth or Kayla. Happy to answer. All right, if nothing else, just need a motion to approve the bookkeeper's report, payments listed therein, and the quarterly investment inventory report. All in favor?
Thank y'all.
All right, agenda item 4, tax assessor collector's report.
All right, good afternoon, board. If you want to pull out your Wheeler report. Brett, I think yours is in this stack right here, where we've had all your goodies.
Thank you.
Let me give you a second.
So is this the public copy, or is this yours? Is there a public copy of Infomark?
This is a fair copy.
Hmm?
This is an extra copy.
It's extra?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's not a copy. That one that's highlighted.
Okay. All right. So we started off the month with $32,352.41. Taxes collected, $101,030.42. After last month's disbursements, left the district at $127,705.70. This month's disbursements, $80,759.75, leaving a cash balance $46,945.95. I've brought 3 checks for your review and approval today. We got our first quarterly assessment from the appraisal district on check 5264, and then you have 1 wire going to your operating account. The time that this report was run, the district was at 8.60% collected. As of today when I left, you're at 12.33% collected. All prior years are in the 99s and 100s. Your final page is calculation of cash, breakdown of your income and disbursements. Does anyone have any questions for me?
All right, I don't hear any questions for Isabel. We can get a motion to approve tax assessor collector's report and approve the invoices to me.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 5 is the delinquent tax collection attorney's report. We do not have a quarterly report for you all. The next one will be presented at your January board meeting. Agenda item 6, engineer's report. Bob?
Hi, everybody. So just.
Is there an
kinda-
extra copy of that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just quick updates. The plans for water well number 2 have been submitted. They're cycling through agencies. The plat has been submitted. I think we've got initial comments from the city, so everything is tracking. We did do a schedule attached there, just kind of cutting to the chase. What we're showing is an end date of June of 2026 for construction. That's allowing for 9 months for construction. That could shrink back a little bit. It could grow a little bit. I mean, I think we've talked about it. There's only 2 well drillers in Houston, which is incredible. So competition is not there, and their workload is high. So a lot of it just depends on getting them in and hitting at the right time. But so right now we're showing June 2026.
So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 quarters for construction. That's really, it doesn't take 5 quarters. That's just.
It won't, no.
What you're saying is it's probably not gonna start until somewhere later on in that blue line?
We'll issue a notice to proceed, and it'll take some time for them to mobilize and get out there. And then they have a hot time where they punch the hole down, and they're working that well and developing it. And it's kind of a constant production there. And then it kind of slows down a little bit. But so it's not like you're going to see physical activity for 9 months. It's going to be on again, off again.
Okay.
And there's, I mean, at the end, we have to submit to TCQ a well report. It takes them a little bit of time. They were pretty good about turning those around like in a couple of weeks, and now it's taking a couple of months. They have to tell us that we can turn the well on. So we've kind of built that into the 9-month schedule. So again, it could flex one way or the other a little bit. Just depends on what's going on. But it is interesting that they don't have more well drillers in Houston. I guess out at oil and gas. So we're tracking there. The other little update, we're gonna do some blower replacements at the wastewater treatment plant, put in a fine screen. We've got plans for that that we are wrapping up right now. And we're projecting a May 2025 approval date. We would bid around the same time. And construction of those items will probably take 12 months. Just a lot of it is delivery time. Eat up 3 or 4 months in delivery time on certain items there, but that is tracking as well. The status of construction, the generators, obviously, they're operational. We haven't seen a final pay estimate just because we're waiting on the operation and maintenance manuals from the contractor to final it out. But everything's operating, everything's good. We just haven't finalized it. And lastly, the water plant improvements, primarily recoating. We've got executed contracts. And I think we are trying to get a pre-construction meeting set this week, and construction hopefully within the next 30 days. It started.
So if we had an event where we needed to use the generator, so we're not waiting on the manual schedule.
No.
That's just to finalize.
Yes, that's crossing a T and dotting an I on the manual. So no, they are fully operational. That's really what I've got, so no action items.
Thanks for putting this chart together.
Sure. Yeah.
I have one update that we included under the engineer's report. The sanitary control easements with the adjacent property owners, we received the TCQ's waiver. And the district's requirement to get those. So, that is great.
It is good.
Bob, I sent you a copy of it last week when you got it. Just wanted- I didn't know if I needed to send it to anybody else. Just let me
No,
know.
we're good.
All right, no action items under the engineer's report. Agenda item 7, this is y'all's request to West Park Mud to delay its surface water conversion project. Following last month's meeting, I did reach out to their attorney to ask if we were gonna get some sort of written response from West Park on that. And she thought her email and the engineer's email confirming their October 2025 delay was good enough. So I'm fine with that. If you guys are fine with that, we can put it in the file saying, the attorney and engineer confirmed they would they were not doing that until October 2025, unless y'all want an actual written request or response from the board itself. Y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, we can take that agenda item off. Okay, agenda item 8, operations report.
Alrighty, good afternoon, board. We should all have a copy of our operator's report in front of us. Very
Do you
quick.
have, do you have an extra copy of this?
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. Well, my only action item today is to approve the delinquent process. Now, there are currently 68 accounts that remain unpaid. We had letters sent out on December 4th. Tags are scheduled to be hung on December 23rd, and then turn-offs are scheduled for December 30th. Moving on to our compliance summary, water distribution, we had our monthly bacteriological samples taken throughout the district. All came back compliant, no coliform or E. coli found. Water supply through the 216 interconnect for the month is 3,180,000 gallons. Our yearly usage is sitting at 34,014,000 out of 46,100,000. Metered and billed for 345 for the month is 18,764,000 gallons. For 346, that number is 3,686,000 gallons. Accountability for the month is 87.99%. Our well GPM is still sitting there at 1,535 gallons per minute. Wastewater treatment and collection, all compliant, no excursions to report. Moving on to our operations summary, we did have a couple leaks out in the district. There were 4 water leaks that we repaired, and then of course 4 level and sods to repair the leaks, or excuse me, to repair the areas around the leaks. Sanitary sewer, nothing to report. Customer care, we had 58 letters that were sent out November 18th. 21 tags were hung, and then there were just 4 disconnects for non-payment. I don't have any accounts to consider for write-off or collections this month.
So, given the high number of accounts that haven't remained unpaid, and it's the holiday season, what about we delay the turning off till January 15th or something like that?
Sure, yeah, we can push it all back a
Good with
week.
that?
I'm sorry, what was your request?
You know, right now, we've got turn off for December 30th.
Oh,
There's
yeah, you guys can,
There's 68 counts that are unpaid.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that's pretty high amount. I don't turn people.
that's fine. We have a lot of districts, that defer terminations for the month of December due to the holidays. So if you guys wanna do that, of course you can.
Sure.
Yep.
I'm agree
Y'all
with
can
that.
pick it up, I agree. Good idea.
Did y'all have a specific date you want to do it, or just push it to January?
Just push it to January as far as I'm concerned.
Understood.
Chad, the lower water accountability percentage, is that just, do you think due to the water leaks that y'all found and repaired?
Yes.
Or it's been a little bit low the last 2 months?
Yes, and we've been finding some additional water leaks, but that is certainly a contributing factor, but there's some other things that we're looking at as well. Some of our
Maybe the
own
ones that are
processes
watching the Facebook,
that
right?
we're looking into. Do we have any other questions?
Alright. There are no action items with respect to the report. We will put that the board concurred to defer terminations of service for the month of December. Alright. Agenda item 9 is discussion regarding the Operations Advisory Committee relative to the district's joint wastewater treatment plant. So Mike, as the appointee.
I'd be happy to give you a quick update. So, we met with Juan Campo, he's the representative from Baker Creek Mud, Barry Huntsworth from Longhorn Town, and myself. I can make these available to you and try to do meeting minutes and stay on top and be organized, but mainly it's for our benefit, recapping, percentage of ownership and 2025 projects that Lee Dawson's outlined in, this document we've seen before. Right, so just a quick recap. The purpose of the committee in the first place is just to communicate, and floating to the top of that communication is what projects are we doing and when, especially when the dollars will start flowing. And so We had a tour of the joint wastewater treatment plant just last Friday at 2 to 3 p.m. roughly, with representatives in Inframark and then 3 members of the committee. Went very well. I think the communication is there. We communicated that we have about $2.1 roughly $1 million of projects that are expected to hit in everyone's fiscal year 2025, like Chad mentioned and Bob mentioned, the blowers, fine screen, automated drum, and various other things that have just, some of them are in the preventive maintenance category, some of them are needs urgently now. So everybody understood and got eyes on, we're pointing at the facility components, eyes on those projects. And I think it went very well. They appreciated the time and the tour that Chad and his group gave us. And so not much else to report other than from this point forward, because we met a total of 3 times, twice in a conference room, once in the field. I think from this point forward, it'll be what was outlined in the original agreement, which is quarterly meetings, and we'll continue to update each other again on projects. Anything to add, Chad, from the tour?
No, I'm just glad that we got everyone out there to get their eyes on everything. Like Mike said, it's a rare occasion where people actually want to get out there and take a look at that kind of stuff. So it certainly makes our job easier if people know what we're actually talking about. So thanks for
Thank
coming
y'all
out.
for doing that, both y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it. No
I
action.
was gonna ask if there was some time. Great. Well, we will continue to keep this on the agenda. And if you don't have any update, we can just put no update until.
Okay. And I'll just feed you my meeting minutes from the various meetings. Is that fine for the?
Yeah, you sent me an email. We
Yeah.
don't need to include them under, I mean, if you want to, we certainly can, but
Yeah.
just a verbal report, is fine with me.
Got it.
Because it wasn't an official meeting.
I think that's it.
All right. All right, do you have any questions for Mike? Okay. All right, agenda item 10 is the Green Trails monthly report for supplemental law enforcement services. We have your November reports for you. Harris County Constable Precinct 5 backbeat activity report. They noted that the call volume was lower in November than it was in December. And then they have a statement here, which I think we talked about last month too, whether if residents want to report a crime, and if they want to stay anonymous or not have all the information, it has the place where they can go and report that for the district. Any questions? All right, yeah, go ahead.
Do we know if this link between the police and the community, is the mud board just one of several links, I assume?
To what? So
But
y'all
like
have the
this,
contract.
just instructions on how to residents to report crimes, wouldn't normally think that would be going through a mud board to do that.
Well, I mean, you certainly can if somebody wants to report a crime to you guys, but y'all aren't the police, so to me it would just be an added step. So this website is directly to the constable's office, so they can go there and report a crime. It's just the constable trying to make it easier for residents to report something if they see, but it's not directly just 345 residents.
Right, but understand, but if the residents didn't know about this, where they can go and report, are we communicating this to the residents? We have a responsibility here to put them on a website or something like that.
You don't, but you certainly can put something on the website if you want, given that it's almost the holidays, in order to make residents aware that, if you see a crime, go to this website. You're more than welcome to do that.
Oh,
I mean,
You can put that on the
yeah,
website.
I think it's a good idea. The homeowners association is the one that contracts with this, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't just post that information also, just as, you see it multiple places, better than not. Yeah. I agree. Can you get that Dominic for?
Yeah, I guess we need to figure out how we want to post it. Do we want to just add it as an announcement? That's easy. If we want to change, I can add the constable as a contact person, and there, do we have any thoughts on how we wanna communicate that on the website? Couple different ways we could do it.
I would think maybe just as a FYI, if you see a crime, please feel free to use this site to report it. I mean, something along
As
those
an
lines.
just put an announcement.
I mean, it's more,
If we have any, I guess when we get, by the time we get to the end of the meeting, if there's anything else we wanna just include in like a holiday announcement,
Mhm.
that's kind of what I'm thinking from the month board. We can, let's kind of circle back around, maybe, maybe see if there's anything else that pops up on our discussions that we wanna add to that holiday announcement that will include constable contact information. That's kind of what it sounds like we're saying. Does that make sense?
Alright. Agenda item 11 is the district website, which I'm gonna make note that y'all do wanna put the constable's, website for reporting crimes on there, and then of course, if there's anything else discussed that you guys wanna put, we can circle back. Agenda item 12 is the status of the installation, well, I guess, is there anything else with respect to the website or mass communication messaging systems with respect to classic messaging you'll need to discuss? Okay. All right, agenda item 12, the status of the installation of a hike and bike underpass on Fry Road. I have not heard an update. Agenda item 13, attorney's report. The only thing I have for you all is a memorandum prepared by Schwartz, Page and Harding on the EPA's final national primary drinking water regulations for PFAS. So as you guys know, the district is required pursuant to the UCMR 5 rules to test for PFAS. There are 25 identified PFAS that you test for, as well as lithium. Y'all got those results a couple months ago. The operator presented those at the meeting, and y'all had a no detectable limit of PFAS found in the district system. This are actual, the EPA has finally adopted regulations for PFAS. So this wasn't just testing, as you know, you were testing because you were required to, but even if y'all tested an extremely elevated level of PFAS, there was no regulation requiring you guys to do anything about it. That has now changed. The EPA adopted these earlier this year, and it requires public water systems to follow a schedule to test for certain categories of PFAS. So they have regulations for 5 individual PFAS, and those are listed there on the first page, and they also have a hazard index for a combination of 2 or more of the PFAS also found on that first page. There are monitoring requirements. Your monitoring has to be complete on, or I guess prior to April 26th of 2027, and it has different monitoring depending on whether you're surface water, groundwater, or a combination of both, as well as how many customers you serve. So obviously you guys would be seeing groundwater systems serving less than or equal to 10,000 customers. One thing that's not clear is you guys, well, I guess none of your interconnects have surface water yet, so you don't have to worry about that. And then there are ongoing monitoring requirements if any of your initial samples are greater than those trigger levels that are identified in the memorandum. And then you have to have actual compliance deadlines, and then there's discussion about treatment options. So if you're testing that you have to do prior to April of 2027, reflects that your PFAS is above the regulated amount, then you have to, by April of 2029, identify a way and reduce that level. And we have some treatment options that are identified here. We have talked about them somewhat briefly in board meetings, but for smaller water systems, reverse osmosis and nanofiltration were found to be the most affordable treatment options. Given that you guys have already done testing and you've had a non-detectable limit, we don't anticipate you having to do this. But we need y'all's authorization for your operator and your engineer to look at the regulations, figure out if the district actually needs to comply with these regulations. And then if you do, set up a sampling schedule so that way you guys stay in compliance.
I thought you were saying that you do need to do that.
You are required to test pursuant to certain current existing regulations. These are new regulations where it's additional testing.
Is anybody here that knows how, is that a big expense to do that testing?
I do not know, but if you're required to,
Yeah.
I mean, I know the treatment
Yeah,
options will be
testing.
expensive, I don't know about the testing.
I believe from what we've seen so far, the testing is around $800 per test,
Per
chemical.
Per people, and you have to test for
Dozens.
5.
Oh,
And have they set any recommended schedule for doing that, how many between tests or anything?
Oh, I'm sure they have. It's, yes, that information should be included in here. So for groundwater systems serving less than 10,000 customers,
Twice a year.
each sample must be collected no less than 5 and no more than 7 months apart. And you have to be collected twice in a 12-month period. So twice a year.
$8 grand
Yeah.
But that was also depending on whether you have to comply with these regulations, which your operator and your engineer need to, that's one of the things y'all are authorizing them to do.
What I understand about these chemicals, which is limited, the most likely sources of these chemicals are surface. You know, they're firefighting foams, industrial leaching, there's all that landfill, there's those kind of things which groundwater is not as exposed to, so.
I think that is what people are finding, yep.
Yeah, I was going to my next question, because eventually, you know, we're probably somewhere down the road gonna get the surface water, if they ever finish, start running the pipeline out to us. Is that, I guess I would kind of like to understand, assuming we ask the operator and engineer to look at this, when y'all come back, I would like to also understand not just the groundwater, but what the future may look like once we convert. Is this like just another tweak of our testing, or is this a whole nother, like a level of testing that we need to do, and what does that look like? What is the expense of that, et cetera? Just as we look to the future, I think it would sure be helpful for all of us to kind of understand that. And I guess if we ever, and you know, somewhere down the road, have to mix the two in an emergency situation, what does that look like? What would that look like for us too? How would that impact the testing we have to do, even if it's for a brief period that we have to mix?
We'll team up with Infomark and do our due diligence and get back with you.
Recommendation. That's probably a good idea. I'd be much more concerned about this if we were on surface water,
Yeah.
particularly given the level of industry we have around it.
Okay.
So, give me a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, please.
Motion?
All right, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is all I have for the attorney's report. There is no need to go into closed session. And then future agenda items. Is there anything any consultants or board members need to add to a future agenda?
One thing that may have fallen off, I think Angela brought it up originally, but that small one-side sidewalk ramp repair. It was actually right before maybe you got on, Bob, and Jason was getting off, but Crescent Parkway might be the name of the street. There's a T intersection, Crescent Green and Crescent Parkway. And it's a very odd, substandard repair of a sidewalk ramp. And so Jason was trying at some point to get in touch with someone at Precinct 3, and it's obviously in their right of way, in their road log, so I'd like to keep trying to push that forward. I'm gonna resend some pictures, he has.
I'll give it to Jason. I'll give it to Jason. I'm just seeing myself in that right now.
Yeah, call me later if you need more
Sure.
details.
Will do.
Maybe get that back on the agenda if.
So I took it off because it's not district related. We can certainly add it if you just want to report on it. Jason did reach out to someone with the county and they responded, thank you, we'll look into it.
They were trying to reach out Easy Fiber to see if Easy Fiber.
Right.
Yes,
was the
but
culprit.
but there were no
He said
permits. There were no permits issued
Right.
to issued to Easy Fiber. And I think that's kind of where it dropped off.
Yeah, so I think.
But happy to
I
add
think
that to
it's-
the agenda
yeah,
if you want, just a report on it.
Just an idea, we could take it on if we chose to, and say, hey, county, because of your lack of, desire to maintain your own infrastructure, we're gonna take care of it for you. And we could have, the engineer produce a very, very small set of plans to do that, and of course, have to pull a permit and working on this kind of right away. I'm just saying it's an option on the table, just to talk about in the future, if they truly won't pursue it and fix it. That's all.
I'll send you what I have to, Bob. Right, I'm happy to add that back to the agenda. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, one other thing that Angela mentioned earlier, I was kind of looking on this, and, do we have a list of service levels and from our targets or accountable for in terms of customer response time, issue resolution time, those kind of things, customer service type, metrics that kind of account for kind of quality of service back to people that call in and have an issue?
As far as the customer service goes, our customer service team, they do have those metrics they have to, those goals they have to reach. Similar to how other call centers track their employees, we track, we have a whole report that comes out every month. So we track how many calls come in, the average length of those calls, how long it takes for us to answer those calls, and the results of those calls as well. So yeah, we're certainly
So if
tracking
we-
that.
And you probably, I don't know if you have to produce this for other districts, but maybe next time, if you could bring us this kind of a service level report that just kind of outlines all those metrics, what your targets are, what the actuals are, et cetera. I think that would be helpful for me to see that anyway. I don't know if want to see that.
I don't know if I can,
If you look in the back, there is a call log there that breaks down how many calls you got and for what. But there
And how do we
is
verify
other-
that?
Can I finish, please? There is other information that we can get for you to add on to this.
Yeah, so that's helpful, that kind of gives the breakdown, and I'm just thinking that there's just a level, something like basic call center, service level reporting kind of stuff. We received a call, we responded, average call, however y'all measure it, maybe if we could just start with that way we can understand kind of how things are being measured, and then if we feel like there needs to be anything supplemented, then we can have a conversation about that to see
Sure.
what that might look like. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to add to the website?
I think I have to be asking to draft an announcement that has to do with the,
Fine.
happy holidays, and if here's how you can contact the constable's office. Anything else? I think,
That's gonna do it. Thank you.
do we, well, yeah, I can't think of it. I think at some point in time, we probably wanna mention that the well is kind of moving forward, but it might be a little bit premature for that. Maybe get through the rest of this, there's multiple planning and steps that need to take place and permits and all that. The whole process you said we're still in, maybe once we get through that,
Yeah.
and that's kind of locked in, and we have a date where we're gonna start construction, then maybe at that point, when it's, a little bit
I think that's better.
firmer,
Yeah,
then we
there's
can
just
make. we
so
can
much
make
out of
an
our
announcement
control in
about
this
that.
little
Yeah.
window, so if we put a date out there, so I think you're right, let's get a little
Maybe,
further along.
maybe, sometime, early next year, once we get to that point, and keep an eye on that.
Since it's the end of the year, kind of happy Christmas look back,
Yeah.
should we announce like the generator project, or just say, it's been a good year, we've strengthened the infrastructure of our system, redundancy or
that's a good point.
whatever, we're much better set up for a storm event, whatever, with the addition of these generators.
Almost like a little recap.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
What else needs to go on that? Yes, new generators,
Lower the tax, reminder about lowering the tax rate. 15.8.
Yep.
You could put a reminder to pay your tax bills.
I was thinking that, but I don't know.
No, don't have to. We lowered it, Ed, but please pay.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I have quite all the details at my fingertips to draft this. Just let me do a quick draft of these points.
Sure, yes, of course I can. I'll run it through there.
The tax rate, the generator,
Lift station and
lift
the,
station.
Yeah, the three generators.
yeah.
What else? I'm sure there's some other things I'm missing.
You mentioned the election. Did it occur?
The
It's kind of an
website.
annual recap.
Yeah, the
Things that
website
happened.
was launched, the elections was completed.
Well, the water plant improvements, so we should have a notice to proceed out within the next week or so. So we could, if you want to add something in on that.
Yeah, maybe just kind of a quick,
We've acquired the site for the water well.
Okay.
acquired the site and, just a quick high level of the improvements that we've made this year. Because we have made, several improvements, upgrades. Anything else?
I'll get Kate, just
Yeah.
reach out to me. Kate and I'll get together.
Yeah, I'll probably need some, I don't think I can draft all that without somebody who's kind of, then y'all can draft that up and then get it to me and then I'll coordinate with, the website folks to get it up there.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Great.
Good
Thank you.
idea.
All right. Anything else? Okay, all right, give me some more motion to adjourn.
And for everyone to have a Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yes.
New Year.
Do the motion?
Yeah, we got a
We need
motion.
a motion.
Anybody want to stay here with us?